All right, in this episode, we talk about
flexibility, well, actually mobility.
And the overhead squat.
Porcio, Scott Suter, Derek Carter here at the @TopVelocity hashtag Pitch Tip Show. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat @TopVelocity hashtag Pitch Tips. Ask your question, we answer on the show. We're on like episode 184.
A lot.
I'm about to officially retire from this bull crap. I don't know whose idea it was to do this. It was ridiculous. Worn out, and now I can't stop. I don't know why. This episode is brought to you by the Pocket Radar. Laughing because it's funny. I'm sponsored by them. No, we have a partnership with these guys because I love their radars, and I really believe that in our programs you have to measure. So, and we want to measure specifically in the drills. So in all your med throws and target throws, it's important that you have a radar. So I like the Pocket Radar because it's as reliable as the more expensive ones, and it's got a great price on it, $299. And if you want to get it for 10% off of that, use this coupon code TopVelo. You get 10% off of that. What do you guys like about the Pocket Radar?
I like it because it's really easy to use. The only downside to it is that you do need a partner to
do it. Yeah, you can't throw. You can't throw it and gun it.
Actually, it does work like that, but
it's just hold on.
It should be like a headset for it.
That'd be nice.
Like right in front of your face, so you're like 85.
But you might know how I did.
That's a good point, though.
No, but I do like how small it is and how easy to just bring it wherever you want.
It's pretty reliable.
It's pretty accurate too. When we put it up against the big jugs gun, it's like the same every time, pretty much.
Okay, so shout out to Pocket Radar guys. We really like their product, and we want to give you guys a discount. So go to TopVelo at PocketRadar.com, and you'll get 10% off. And also 3X, 2X camps. I got a 2X camp this weekend, but 3X camps are coming up for all summer, so book those ASAP. Before they fill up. Come down and train with these knuckleheads over here. Give them a little experience of what it's like training here and why you guys are training here, and give them something.
It's hot down here, so be prepared.
Not yet.
No, it's fun. It's great being around all the guys, just because you can bounce stuff off each other. You got people, you can see what you're doing. People help you, instant feedback if you're doing anything wrong.
And you can't slack.
You cannot slack.
Because guys like Scott here will kick your butt, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't like slackers, do you?
No, not at all.
We're laughing because he falls into the slacking category every now and then. Every once in a while.
They all get there.
We're like, where's Scott? He's still sleeping.
No, what I do like about this facility though is that you're always surrounded by people that are trying to strive you to get better. So like one of the main reasons I'm out here is because I don't have it's hard for me to stay focused on something for a long period of time, and so being surrounded by people who are always trying to make me better and and
pushing
me and Derek push each other and stuff all the time and stuff like that. So that's a great help. So I would really recommend if you have any sort of problems with staying focused for long periods of time, definitely come down here because you don't get any breaks. So
yeah, it's a hard program.
Come down here if you're ready to work though. We don't take it easy. We do hard work here and it helps, and we get jobs done.
We don't just throw down here. We lift. We run around
every day.
Do a lot of mobility.
Mobility,
not flexibility.
We change the body, right? It's all about changing the body, not flexibility. Good topic. Good transition here. So what's our first question for the day? Royal Guy asks, in your videos you mentioned yet you think a guy with elite flexibility could throw really hard. What do you define as elite flexibility? What muscles specifically? Joints. Okay, Scott would like to make the point is it's mobility, not flexibility, because it's within movement is why it's really more mobility. If it's not within movement, how far can I spread my legs far apart? That's flexibility, but we're defining it in movement, how well does your hip move through a full range of motion as you're going down the mountain. So it's more mobility. So whatever, that's just terminology. Elite flexibility or elite mobility to me, is knowing that you can easily hit all the ranges that high velocity pitchers move through. If we look at the back hip, we know about 40 degrees of internal rotation is required to get a good load of the back leg. About 55 degrees of abduction is required to get a good load out of the back hip. About 30 degrees of hip extension is required to get a good stride into front foot strike. 100 plus degrees of hip flexion in front leg is required for you to get a good linear front leg with good forward trunk tilts. Where else? Horizontal abduction. If you've got at least 20, 30 degrees of horizontal abduction, elbow behind the back, that's required for you to be able to load your arm late in the delivery. If you've got at least 90 to 100 degrees of trunk rotation, that's your ability to completely separate hips from shoulders. So those would be the ranges of elite mobility, and that's what we're saying. And yes, if you're a guy who doesn't have a lot of strength, doesn't have a lot of speed, but you can get into those ranges that I've defined, then you don't have to move as fast as the guy who's got half those ranges. He's got to move quicker. The best analogy I used was, think of so let's just look at it this way. If you've got two jets and both those jets are at the same speed, and we'll compare those to two pitchers, and they both basically have the same speed in their body, okay, but one jet's got a 100-yard runway and the other one's got 50, well, this jet now has to go faster to get up and get going with only 50 yards, and the other guy can go slower and get to top speed. So same thing, because time gives us, or distance is time, and it gives us that time to generate force. So if we don't have a lot of that time or distance, then we've got to go faster. So if you're a guy who doesn't have a lot of speed in your body, yeah, gaining more mobility will help gain speed, but here's the thing. What can you manipulate more? Can you manipulate speed, strength, power, mobility? What can you manipulate the most of? Typically strength and power, which is bringing in some speed, is what we can manipulate the most of. So that's why we typically talk power as opposed to mobility. We still work on all that, but we're saying, look, if you're genetically the guy who's got this elite mobility, but you don't have a lot of speed, you probably throw hard. And a lot of y'all are thinking, well, I know this guy who's really not strong and fast, but he throws 90. It's probably because he's got crazy mobility and he doesn't have to move as fast as you. But good luck going to try to develop his mobility. It's something very hard to do. You're better off just doing a little bit different and bringing more power into the equation. I hope that makes sense. Anything y'all want to throw in there? Talk about, kind of go into that. Tell them how challenging mobility is. Talk about that, or add to it.
Okay, I have 2 points. One thing is that if you do come down to a camp, Brent will show you every single thing that you have that you need to work on through mobility and stuff like that, which is a great help because not a lot of people know exactly
they don't know
what
that.
Ranges of motion you need to know and stuff like that, and so that's a really good guideline on what you need to work on. So that helped me a lot when I first got here, and it's still helping me because I still need to work on the same exact stuff. But mobility it's very tricky and it's difficult. You really have got to be dedicated to it. If you don't do it every single day, it's not really gonna help you in the long run.
So what's easier, getting an extra 20 degrees of hip internal rotation or 40 pounds on your back squat?
Yep.
40 pounds for sure. But one thing that I would say is when I first got down here, I really didn't really care about mobility that much. And then when David got down here, he would bust my balls about it all the time, and I was just I didn't even realize that it was so important. And that's one of the reasons that a lot of people get hurt, is because they don't really focus on mobility enough and stuff like that. And so I'm coming back from injury right now, so I really have got to focus even more on my mobility than before. So that's kind of what I got.
For mobility, I mean, it's just using the human body the way that it's supposed to be used. For me right now, I'm dealing with some shoulder impingement because, like most of society, we spend most of our time with our arms in this forward position, whether we're driving a car or sitting in a chair all day. Our shoulders and our backs are getting hunched up, and we have to open everything up and to use it the way it's meant to be. Same with a squat. If you look at toddlers, we have a bunch of little travel teams that come in, 8 and 9-year-olds. They can get into the bottom of a squat and they can sit there all day. It's the easiest thing in the world for them. They don't even have to think about it. But the older we get, the less we start doing it. And
because we sit down.
Yeah, we sit down, and it puts our bodies in positions that it's not supposed to be in.
Well, what happens is you're not putting your body through a full range. So when you sit, you're going half range, and you're letting the muscles tighten up in that half range.
And that's what we have to fix that now. And for however long we've been in school, we've been sitting in desks all day long and not doing what the human body is made to be able to do. So now we're kind of undoing years of damage that we've put our bodies through.
I mean, it's a theory. It's look at Latin or third world countries that play really good baseball. They probably don't sit in desks as long as we do in this country. Could have something to do with athleticism. So it does make a good point, you know.
But also, when you are like lifting a bunch and stuff, like your muscles are gonna get tighter. So, especially like if you're just starting to work out and stuff, and you're like, oh, dude, I'm super mobile. Like I don't really need to work on mobility and stuff. But that's what I kind of thought when I first got here, also. But then the more I started working out, the tighter I got, and like now it's almost becoming a problem for me. So it's
so
crucial.
important. You gotta take care of it.
But first, you got to be measured to know where your mobility is before you start working on it. Because if you're working on something you have good mobility in, you're wasting your time. So you got to get measured to actually know what you have. Good question. All right, next question. Ryan Maservi asks, hey Brent, what is the best way to increase overhead squat total? Ryan, we're not like crazy on overhead squat maxes or like how much can you squat overhead. We do like to see that you can actually perform one, even if it's just with a dowel or a stick. But
That's for
if you wanted to,
mobility.
yeah, and it's a good mobility assessment tool. But if you're trying to improve overhead squat, even if it's not strength or max, it's two things. It's upper body strength, obviously. If you have poor shoulder strength, you're going to struggle at it. Poor, arm strength to be able to stabilize the elbow. So building upper body strength is going to be big. Push pressing, overhead pressing, which we do, and we teach you the safe way to do it. And on top of that is learning it's good hip mobility and trunk position, because if you lean forward in overhead squat, you're done. So it's keeping that vertical trunk position. I don't know, any of you guys ever tried to work on overhead squat? We don't really build it in much until later on.
I'll dabble with it, but
I never really go like high weight. Like I might do like 95 pounds on my overhead squat, just because but the main reason I do it is almost like I'll do that like after I do like my big squat sets and stuff like that. Like I'll do it like on a cool down almost, just like getting those range of motions and like work on stuff like that. But I don't use it as much for like building strength. I'd say it's almost like a cool down for like
it's a good assessment tool to see where your mobility is.
I just use it as the warm up and bar warm up. Other than that,
It's our barbell warm up. So hey, overhead up, get your upper body strong, work on your trunk positions through your squat, and you'll be able to knock out a good overhead squat. All right, good question. Thanks for sending those in. If you have a question, go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, at TopVelocity, #PitchTips, #BaseballTips. Ask your question. We answer the show. 2X, 3X camps coming up. Get those signed up. See you on the next episode.
See ya.
Bye.